Please be advised that this video is for the sole purpose of entertainment. Any views are purely my own, are subjective, and may not necessarily be true. All photos have been found on the public domain, and I am using them under the fair use and fair dealing guidelines. I urge everybody to do their own research. Well, hello, it's Murky Meg here. It's Friday the 30th of August and I've got a fair few things to report back to you today. First, we have a new report that says that Meghan has hit rock bottom. It's fair to say that both Meghan and Harry have been really hit with damning media attention in the past couple of months. The public backlash being mainly because of the birth debacle, the shady christening antics, and of course Playgate, not to mention the fact that they don't seem to be listening to anybody but themselves. And it seems to me that the unshakable Meghan, and bear in mind, this woman has been quoted in saying that she doesn't watch or use social media, or she doesn't read anything about herself, and I say, of course not, Meghan. But apparently, she seems really shaken and struggling with royal life at the moment. Those close to her are saying that she could have the baby blues. Of course, if that's true, it's terrible and she needs to seek help. But the source continues telling America's In Touch magazine this week there are times when she bursts into tears over the smallest of things. I don't think that's baby blues. I think that's not getting her own way. The article goes on to say that's why Harry went out of his way to cheer her up by pampering her while she's going through this difficult time. I'm sorry, cheer her up. This fallout is entirely her doing. I say her because it's my personal opinion that Harry has officially given his crown jewels to Meghan on the day that he said, I do. She calls the shots, and I can imagine that Harry, bless his little heart, is more than likely taking the brunt of her anger. This is a woman who has flaunted and gloated her royal status since getting that ring on her finger, and judging by the media reports, it's only getting worse. This is a woman that wanted to move in with Granny after they got married. Yep, old Megsy requested that they wanted to move in with the Queen at Windsor Castle, and thankfully this was rejected because of how inappropriate it would be for a young family to live at the royal palace. Her grit and ambition knows no bounds. What normal woman in her late 30s asks to live with relatives, let alone Granny, after bagging a prince? She's certainly got some balls, hasn't she? I'm trying to understand her motive and come to the realisation that it's all to do with status. Of course it's to do with status, you all cry. We all know that. If she lived in Windsor, then she could really ham up the princess in the castle narrative, couldn't she? She certainly made sure she got the castle shot for the baby reveal for Archie, didn't she? Nothing this woman does is left to chance. She knows exactly what controlled image she wants to put out there and make sure that it's picture perfect and tells a story. To think that she is eligible to actually live in the same place as the Queen is unbelievably arrogant. Don't get me wrong, he's just as bad. The only reason she wanted to move into the castle was to make sure that she got her claws into our Queen. These two get worse with everything I read about them. How did they get so full of their own self-importance that they had the nerve to ask the Queen if they could move in to her gaff? It's the monarch's home. Not even Charles and William would expect to live there until they become monarch. She expected a Disney film life, and she probably thought that when she married her prince, she would wear the long floaty dress, a crown, and live in a castle. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but it doesn't work like that. I suppose they thought that if they moved into a castle, they would have a beautiful suite of rooms always maintained by the Windsor staff, Her Majesty to oversee all running costs while they swan around the world, living the life of Riley with their rich mates, while having afternoon tea with Granny. Thank God the Queen put them in that cottage. No one would blame her for not wanting to have all of those tacky, rich friends flooding the palace. Did anybody really think that Meghan would settle for Frogmore Cottage? She's always had her eye on the main prize. I actually thought that she was after Frogmore House, but no, it looks as though she wanted what Her Majesty the Queen has, Windsor Castle. Is she going to claim squatters' rights once she was in there? What I can't understand is that they didn't want to live at Kensington Palace because they didn't want to raise a family in a fishbowl. Now we hear that they wanted to move into Windsor Castle. That reveals that the PR lie that we were told Frogmore Cottage is the consolation prize. I just can't get over the absolute cheek of Harry asking his granny if they could move into Windsor. Surely by now he knows that the Queen would never allow for him and his wife to appear to be lording over the rest of the family. They already use the place as a backdrop for their PR and act as if it's their own place. These two come across as a pair of spoilt, immature teenagers. This story isn't helping to paint these two in a very good light, is it? The fact is that the perfect fairy tale story she wishes to portray is rotting from the roots up, making her realising that she's played it all wrong. Going back to this story that she's miserable and hit rock bottom, the source also says that another thing that Meghan is struggling with is being constantly compared to Kate Middleton, who has an established relationship with the Queen. Well, that's always going to happen. That's nothing new. Kate has been here for much, much longer. She also had a very long relationship with William prior to their marriage, unlike the hapless two who literally met, got engaged, married within the space of 2 years. The article also says Meghan feels that there is a standard set very high by Kate, and it's discouraging that the British public and cruel media hold her up to that. And although the insider admits that the actress can act like a diva at times, that she often does this when she's stressed. Stressed? What has she got to be stressed about? Does she pay a mortgage? No. Does she have to pay for extortionate childcare? No, we pay for her nannies. What about the food shopping? I doubt very much that old Nutmeg will be popping down to Aldi this weekend because she needs to make their paycheck last another week. The deluded nonsense that comes out of her or her spokesperson's mouth is ridiculous. This woman has been given everything monetary-wise that we could only dream about, yet she's stressed. Sadly for them, the private jet scandal once again is coming back to bite them, with the new claim about the reason why they took Elton John's jet to France. According to the American magazine Star, despite supporters claiming they took private jet due to security and privacy concerns, the royals actually didn't want to board a commercial flight for other reasons. Now let's see if we can guess what they are. Nope, can't do it. Meghan worries Archie will get sick because of all the germs. Get sick? Are you for real? I'm laughing because it is laughable. They took a plane so Archie wouldn't get sick. Jesus Christ, he's a baby, not the sodding Messiah. Oh, Harry, we simply can't go commercial. What if my little king gets a cold? The report also says the Queen's not happy with them either. I should hope not, to be perfectly honest. She's accused the couple of making a mockery out of the monarchy, especially after Harry was called a hypocrite. Go Queenie, I say, but it's my opinion that actions speak louder than words, and the only way that these two will ever learn is by cutting their supply of cash. Put these two on a budget and see how they cope. Britain is on its knees with 2/3 of children in poverty living in a working family. A working family. I've been there myself, and the stress of finding money just to cover day-to-day essentials is crushing. And now it seems they've hired yet another PR media specialist to change the perception of the people. hang on a minute. 1, who's paying for this? 2, what will this person do that the previous PR spin specialist didn't do? And 3, will they actually listen? Because we know for a fact that these two have taken no advice from palace officials about how they should conduct themselves. Are they just going to keep hiring more and more PR gurus with every bad scandal? It's like a revolving door of new in and old out. Or are they all going to be beavering away to try and make them look like they have the people's interest at heart? Because I've got news for you PR people. It won't work. The damage is done, and no amount of Instagram goodwill posts and shine a light drivel will ever change what we are now thinking about them. These two pompous elite are so out of touch that they can't see us from their very high private jet. But what should be done with them? Should they be provided with the wealth and the luxury via the taxpayer just because they're the sixth in line and his wife? Or should they abdicate and hand in their titles, house and status and start afresh in America? Yeah, sure, they'll be interested in them, to be perfectly honest. They'll have a little bit of a shine for a little while because they're royal, or they have been royal. But I think that's not sustainable, because what attracts people to them is the royal status. Just look at Edward and Wallis. They didn't fare too well after he left the firm for the love of his life. So what do you all think? Do you think Meghan's got a bit of the baby blues, or is she just throwing a mammoth tantrum because it's not turning out to be the fairy tale that she wants it to be? That she has to control how she's seen in the public eye, and because it's not going too well, do you think now she's just throwing her toys all out of the pram? What do you think of them wanting to live at Windsor? Do you think the Queen made the right decision in saying no? I mean, it has its perks. She could have kept her eye on them, to be perfectly honest. And Lord knows they need somebody to actually watch them at the moment. As always, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell. Thank you all for your continuing support. It really does warm my heart. And once again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you very soon.